So the world of boxing lost a couple of very famous names in the last week or so. Livingston Bramble, Big George Foreman, uh, Dick McTaggart, and Colin Hart. Now I had a little bit to do with Colin Hart over the years. I interviewed him for my first book on Paul Sykes. What was that? 2017. I actually made him a subject chapter of 30 boxing names chapters in a book called Tales of Pugilism. And only last year did I interview him for the forthcoming book I've got coming out later on in the year on Mickey Duff. Do you know, watching telly for years, and I say probably 30, over 30 years now, I always thought Colin Hart was a quite abrupt man, quite cantankerous, um, called it what he was. But over the years, when I spoke to him, what a lovely guy he was. Um, he, as I said, he gave me a real insight to the Paul Sykes book. I think Colin actually said to me, I think he described him as something like Britain's Sonny Liston. He said, in all the years I've been studying boxing, remember he was born in 1935, came from West Ham in East London. So he saw everyone. And he said to me, I've never known any boxer. The words he used was bad to the core, as Paul Sykes. I did a chapter on him, Tales of Pugilism, which I suppose bought me a couple of favours with him. He was quite, I was just speaking from the heart, and obviously I've observed and I've watched, and he was the daddy of boxing journalists, certainly in this country. And beyond, because of course he was entered in the Hall of Fame a couple of years back. So yeah, Colin Hart. What was it? Yeah, Mickey Duff. So when I decided I was going to do a Mickey Duff book, I think he was literally one of the first people. Duff was born in 1929. So Colin was born in 35. So he died in the last, I think it was over the weekend, and he was just short of his 90th birthday. Very sad, he didn't at least make 90. And I remember speaking to him a year ago, and the words he said to me was, I'm glad I'm actually just still alive. I'm, you know, and yeah, he called it what he was. He did rub. I don't know whether rub a lot of fighters up the wrong way is the wrong word to use, because he said as it was. I know Prince Nassim Ahmed absolutely hated him many years ago, and there's footage of him on YouTube really having a go at Colin, which is quite uncomfortable to watch. Although Hamed had the good grace of apologising later on. Yeah, it's really sad, because I'm going to be doing something on Henry Wharton. I've got Junior Witter's book. I've got Junior Witter's documentary. And you know what? I would have loved to have spoken to him, on a few other things. But I was honoured, absolutely, really honoured to speak to him, get to know him a little bit over the years. A few times I did ring him, and a few things went for him, or he wasn't really clued up on the subject. But it was never too much trouble for him, and getting to know him a little bit, I could separate how I thought he once was, and he is an absolute massive loss to boxing as a whole, but British really. I know there's your Steve Bunces and your Gareth Davies, but Colin was just. I remember him saying to me, he said the greatest fighters, and I think it was this order. He said it was Lennox Lewis, Ken Buchanan, and Joe Calzaghe. And he had Joe Calzaghe as number one. Um, yeah, I think he was massively a huge fan of John Conte as well. He said he was definitely up there. But listen, if Colin Hart says Calzaghe is Britain's greatest ever fighter, then that's good enough for me. But Colin Hart, you will be really, hugely missed. And yeah, I'll put out a chapter in the Mickey Duff book. And of course, when I did interview him over the years, I sent him a few books. I sent him the Sykes one, sent him the Tales of Pugilism. What was the other book I sent him again? I have said it. Oh well, the Mickey Duff one's not even out yet, But yeah, I would have, of course, sent him it, and I'd love to have got his opinion on it because he was very close to Mickey, really close to him. But yeah, Colin Hart, you will be hugely missed, and it was a pleasure talking to you. God bless you, sir.